What on earth is soil? Soil is the material that makes up the most outer layer of our planet. Soil is formed from rocks and decaying plants and animals. Each soil type has different amounts of organic matter, minerals, and nutrients. Different sized mineral particles, like sand, silt, and clay, give soil its texture. There are over 70,000 different types of soil in the U.S. alone. Soil particles experiment. Although there are many different types of soil, each type is made up of the same particles: sand, silt, clay, and organic matter. Different types of soil have different amounts of these particles. We are going to do an experiment to separate these different particles and help us get a better look at how much of each is in our soil sample. Alright, now to do your experiment, first you're going to need a clear jar or bottle. I have a sauce jar here, but a Coke bottle would work just fine. You'll also need a funnel. I've made one out of paper. And you're going to need some water. You'll need enough to cover your soil completely, as well as enough for about 2 inches above your soil. And of course, you'll need your soil. And you'll need quite a bit of it. Now, my soil came from my backyard. As you can see, it's pretty sandy and pretty dark. If you do this experiment at home, your soil jar is probably not going to look the same, but that's totally fine. Now we're going to take our jar. Make sure our funnel is nice and tight on the top so we don't have a spill, and you're going to scoop your soil into the jar. You'll want to have quite a bit of soil again, so that way your layers will show up nicely when you're done. And now we're going to add our water. So once again, you want enough water to cover your soil completely, plus a little bit more for about 2 inches or so from the top of that. And you can see as I'm pouring my water that it's already getting pretty dark, and now I'm going to add some more so I have some extra space at the top. So my soil's already mixing in there, and my jar doesn't have a lid. This is a lot easier with a lid, so make sure your lid or your hand is on tight and shake your jar or bottle. You want to shake it up pretty well so that your soil and water is nice and mixed together. And now we wait. I'm going to wait about 24 hours for my jar to settle so that my water is a bit clearer and you can see the layers better. But you can start looking at your jar even as early as 2 to 3 hours. I just think 24 hours is the best result, so that's what we're going to do today. And we'll come and check it tomorrow. Alright, it's been 24 hours and our jar is pretty well settled, but before we take a look at it, we're going to talk very quickly about what the layers in our soil particles are going to look like. When the soil and water are shaken up, the different soil particles become separated and settle into layers. The 3 mineral layers are at the bottom and the organic layer is at the top. The bottom layer is sand and other small pebbles. Sand particles are the largest and heaviest particles in soil. The next layer is silt. Silt particles are not as large as sand, but larger than clay and organic material. The next layer is clay. Clay particles are the smallest of the 3 mineral particles. Next is the water. And finally, the organic matter floats on the top or toward the top of the jar. Remember, different types of soil will have different amounts of each particle. Not all soil jars will look the same. Here is our completed jar that's been sitting for 24 hours. You can see the different layers are showing up quite nicely and the water is a bit murky but mostly clear. And here I've labeled each of the layers. You can see the sand at the bottom, then silt, water, and organic matter. And if you look closely, you'll see that I'm missing a layer. I am missing clay. My soil has very little to almost no clay in it. It's something called loamy sand. When trying to figure out what kind of soil they are looking at, Soil scientists use the soil texture triangle. It uses the percentage of clay, silt, and sand found in a soil sample to determine what kind of soil it is. The USDA NRCS has an online map called the Web Soil Survey, where you can look up the specific soil type in your area. My soil is a type of loamy sand, which is the area in red. It is mostly sand with some silt.